Hello, everybody. My name is Joey. I'm part of the Chart Guys team. Been a full-time trader and technical analyst for over 7 years. Here to talk some crypto. We've got a pretty exciting day with the ETFs starting to trade. And I'll be the first to say I kind of thought there'd be some more fireworks. But if we look at the charts, we can't even really tell that there's anything exceptional going on here today. So with that, as y'all can probably guess, we're going to go ahead and stick with the charts as our guide. We've got a little bit of a DYDX hack going on we'll talk about briefly. And of course, we'll talk about Bitcoin and its probabilities of being a monthly bull flag and what we need to see from here if that's going to be the case. Let's get into the charts. We'll just start off with ETH since it is the star of the show here today. And let's just lay our groundwork on the larger time frames before we dig in to what we've got going on the smaller time frames. We know it's all about this monthly 12 EMA. If monthly 12 EMA is support, then there's no 6-month lower high shaping up to stay within a tightening range. And at this point, we've got a really nice weekly bounce off of that EMA. So if we're going to have full confidence in a hold of that, we're eventually going to need a weekly uptrend here. So that being said, consolidation stinks for bulls. Nobody likes consolidation, but it's part of a healthy chart. And when we look into the daily here, we can see things are kind of petering out. It was a pretty impulsive move off of the lows. And now at this point, we had a daily bull flag confirm without much follow through. And here we are back testing these daily EMAs. So if you remember from last stream and the stream before, we're talking about daily 12 EMA being the key support to hold to keep the weekly moves strong. So ETH is now testing that and getting a little bounce off of it. But if bears were to take out this 33.48 along with, of course, 33.67, then that would be the first sign of our weekly lower high shaping on up. Well, really the first sign is a daily bull flag confirmed without follow through. You could view this as a little bit of a head and shoulders type pattern. And we'll just have to see, can bulls get another daily high or low set and keep the show on the road? Or do bears shape up some weekly consolidation? If bears shape up weekly consolidation, we can't view it as a bad thing. This has been an excellent move off the lows, 26, nearly 27% at this point. And knowing that if we're going to have confidence, if we're going to have decent odds of follow through, if we were to go to new 2024 highs, then we're likely going to need a weekly uptrend. So the whole thing is we've just got to make sure that we're on the right side of things if we do get that weekly consolidation. So we'll zoom in a little bit more here, and definitely a bit of a funky 4-hour chart. I'm just going to view this as one move down, one move up, and one move down. So we got a 4-hour downtrend to be watching as the guide for daily consolidation. That is traditionally what we are looking at, and with that, anything below 35.41 going to be a 4-hour lower high next bounce. If bulls are going to hold the daily 12 EMA, going to need to regain a 4-hour uptrend. So that's ETH USD. Really, where the excitement is, in my opinion, is ETH BTC. And again, everybody who's been watching these streams knows that I have cared more about ETH BTC than I have about ETH USD, because ultimately, if we're talking about ETH USD coming back into the limelight, the ratio needs to come along. And we'll go back out to the monthly. We've been rejecting from monthly 12 EMA for quite some time. We haven't had a weekly uptrend in quite some time. And yet again, inability to get a weekly uptrend and another rejection from the monthly 12 EMA. So if you remember from the last stream, we kind of broke up the two ways this could play out into what would satisfy a shorter time frame bull and what would satisfy a bigger picture bull. And this is potentially the scenario that would satisfy a bigger picture bull, because again, with the trend changes, with like what we're talking about on the weekly for ETH, we would have that same thing on the monthly. So even if we did break this bull, we would eventually need a monthly trend change. And now what this opens up the door for is that we get yet another rejection off the monthly 12 EMA. Now bulls want to form a monthly higher low and higher high. So the 0.5 retrace of this move up is right around 5 cents. So bulls have a little bit more room to work with, but it's absolutely the ideal reaction of what bulls could hope for after breaking this long-term tightening range to the downside right into a daily bounce. So that is an initial lack of follow through, but there's more steps that will be needed for us to say, okay, that's now a bear break without follow through. Step one is going to be confirming a 4-hour uptrend. Definitely going to be hard pressed to do that due to the depth of this retrace here, pulling back more than 50% of the move up. But we got bulls showing up here recently, last 2 hours. And let's see, silence my phone real quick. So if bulls are going to get a 4-hour uptrend from here to see daily bounce continuation, pretty simply, they just got to get through 52.91, the high of the morning. And if they can do that, even if they can't do that, so let's lay it out in two different ways. If bulls do that, then odds increase further that this is a bear break without follow through and a quick monthly higher low can shape up, because that would see daily bounce continuation and create even more room for bulls to try to do the same thing on the daily. That being said, this is a pretty solid move off of the lows, pushing above daily EMA. So even if we do just top out here, I'd say it's still in the cards for bulls to try for a daily uptrend from here on ETH BTC. And if that happens, if we get a daily uptrend from this bounce on ETH BTC, then odds will increase big time that we are going to shape up a monthly higher low, and it will be in the cards for bulls to try to get a monthly uptrend for the first time since back in 2021 on ETH BTC. So I will be watching that closely as we look to see what ETH is all about. It's been weaker than Bitcoin since September 2022. There's bouts of relative strength that come in there, but nothing sustained. Bulls want something sustained, and ultimately this was a quarterly equilibrium that broke bear, and bulls want to try to get over monthly 12 EMA to say this is a quarterly downtrend confirmed without follow through, which would then increase the odds of a monthly bull flag, which on the, not monthly bull flag, yearly bull flag. And if that's the case, then we can anticipate that ETH would have relative strength in a very sustained fashion. So keeping close eyes on that. And now let's go back to Big Daddy BTC. So it's going to be quite similar to ETH in terms of what we're looking at on the daily, weekly, and monthly. Bulls trying to hold monthly 12 EMA. As long as that support, it's a monthly bull flag. Nice weekly move up, seeing some resistance, and anything below 72K would be a weekly lower high. We'd need continued increasing bull volume if that wasn't going to be the most likely scenario. And when we're in these kind of tweener spots of, all right, well, we got fundamental stuff that could be pushing us up. We've got the election related stuff. We've got Trump speaking at a Bitcoin conference on Saturday. All of these things, if that's going to manifest in the chart and have us just go right to higher highs, then we'll have increasing bull volume on the weekly, and we're not going to lose daily 12 EMA. So right now that is currently around 64.6K. Consolidation is underway. We have lost the 12-hour uptrend. So let's go to the 12-hour. That is a shift in momentum to a degree. And the question is, to what degree? And we'll find out that answer based on a couple things. One, do we hold daily 12 EMA? That's the very straightforward answer to that question. The second would be, how do bulls respond to hourly oversold? It's not an hourly back burner. But we can still glean information from how bulls react to that. So let's go ahead and drop a line on that and see where it aligns in terms of our EMAs. And that will be hourly oversold into daily 12 EMA and a back test of this key value area that we've been watching since back here in October 2021. So the confluence is there for bulls to hold the EMA and keep the show on the road. And if that happens, then the show stays on the road. And we're looking up to all-time highs. 72K would be first resistance. And then, 74.8 is our all-time high. 73.8 is our all-time high. If we're going to get weekly consolidation, what this will look like, if we're going to get it from here, most likely it would just be dropping down and losing that EMA, and then we'd see if bears can confirm a daily downtrend. There's always the possibility that we do come down, hold the EMA, and then bears form a daily lower high and lower low. I would say one of those three scenarios is likely what's going to happen from here, and we'll likely get an answer this week in terms of what are our odds of weekly consolidation versus a continued move on up towards all-time highs. And, I know everybody wants it to go up, but I really think if we were to just blast up to all-time highs from here, it would be difficult to see follow through. You often don't see follow through if you break resistance coming straight off the lows. So Lamont has something that he says often in the chat room here at the Chart Guys, that nature never rushes, yet everything gets done, or something like that. I might be botching the words a little bit, but it's very applicable to trading, specifically when we talk about consolidation. Again, we all want it to go up, yes, but if bulls were to give it up a little bit, see some healthy weekly consolidation, cool things off, and then go up in a weekly uptrend and test all-time highs, there's better odds of follow through on a move like that. So we got to just take what the charts are giving us, not what we want from the charts. And for now, we don't really know what the charts are giving us. You know, the weekly candle doesn't look good. It's only Tuesday. We got a ton of trading left. And if bulls hold daily 12 EMA and it's a daily bull flag, then the weekly candle is going to look fine. So we're going to learn a lot coming up in the next few days as to what we're getting on Bitcoin. So let's move on through some other names. Let's check out on AIOZ. We've been stalking it for a while. We finally got that bull break of the falling wedge. So the reason we were interested here was daily falling wedge into monthly 12 EMA, looking for a monthly higher low, and pretty much that scenario that we talked about last stream of how you could go about getting this daily higher low when your stop would have to be so far away. And anybody who took that approach to it had a nice move up. 29% in a few days, pretty sweet, but there's more work to be done if we're talking about a monthly higher low being set. So ultimately what that did is it gave us weekly bounce follow through, and now the next step from here will be confirming a weekly uptrend. If bulls can do that, then that's the monthly higher low shaping up, and the reason why we pay attention to a name like this is because we're within proximity to all-time highs. If Bitcoin goes to new all-time highs, and we start to see some alts pop, you got to think that an alt that is close to all-time highs is going to be on a lot of traders' radar, and people will flock to it, and it likely will have more upside. Historically, that's how it goes. So that's why we keep these blue sky names on our radar up here. Let's look at another one, FET. So still kind of struggling, but you know, it's got the AI narrative, all that jazz, and very similarly, we're looking for a monthly higher low off the 12 EMA. But this continues to be weak. This continues to be weak. Was it a 3-day inverse head and shoulders we're looking for? Yeah, we could still, I mean, I don't know if I'd call it an inverse head and shoulders because our necklines are pretty far apart. But next step for bulls, going to be confirming an uptrend like that. Oh, we have a falling wedge here too. I forgot we had that. Let's see what this is looking like. We'll just watch it on the daily. And actually looking at FET brings up a good point in terms of what are our probabilities on Bitcoin, what are our probabilities on ETH, and FET has lost its daily EMAs, it lost its daily uptrend, and it's not the only one who's doing that. I think, so Link is not, but it's close. Who else had it? I guess we can kind of rapid click through here. AAVE lost it, ZEC still holding, DOT lost it, ETC still holding, FTM has the same daily head and shoulders that Link has, and AXS kind of doing its own thing, AVAX doing its own thing, ADA lost it. That's who I was thinking of. So the point is, very often we see alts lead the way in the crypto space. And while Bitcoin's still holding on fine, while ETH is still holding on fine, when you start to see some of these alts lose their daily uptrends, it shifts the odds that Bitcoin and ETH may follow. So got to keep eyes on that. So FET, we're looking for a 3-day uptrend. Let's go back to Link because we're looking at this 2-week falling wedge as we scout a quarterly higher low. And it's looking like weekly consolidation fixing to shape up. If bulls hold this 1334, that will be a potential daily head and shoulders to get some weekly consolidation underway. And then the next step for bulls would be confirming a weekly uptrend, try to break out of this wedge. What else are we looking at? Let's look at SOL. SOL has been strong. We know that there's looming ETF hype with SOL itself, and we got bears playing defense at the highs. So 188.89 is our key resistance within this weekly equilibrium. And aggressive bears are playing off of that level. The daily chart's certainly still fine, consolidation still healthy, but risk to reward favors bears up here. And if they're going to do that and have us continue to tighten on the weekly, they're going to have to take out the daily 12 EMA and confirm a daily downtrend. So that's the bearish view. The bullish view is, all right, we're right up on resistance. If we break that, definitely going to be some stops, and then the highs of 2024 are not far. You know, maybe you're looking for a daily bull flag. Let's see if we're at hourly oversold. Looks like we haven't quite gotten to it yet. And similar to Bitcoin, it's going to be aligned decently close with that daily 12 EMA. A little bit above, but I mean, just a little bit. So as always, there's opportunity for bulls and bears alike pretty much simultaneously all the time in the markets. You just got to ask yourself, how aggressive are you? How conservative are you? And do you want to be bullish? Do you want to be bearish? And you can be all of those things at the same time. If you want to be looking bearish on one name because you're bullish on all these other names, you know, you can get positioned risk-free in a bear trade, get positioned risk-free in a bull trade, and then let them duke it out. Whoever wins, wins. Obviously, whatever Bitcoin does is likely going to guide the tide for the whole space. And there's nothing saying that you can't be playing both sides. So that, and that's part of the beauty of the crypto space with so much varying relative strength and weakness in the alts. So another thing I am noticing on Sol here is we did just ding daily overbought to the T. So bears playing some defense. Can they get on offense by taking out daily 12 EMA? Time will tell. What else we got? Let's talk about DYDX. I really don't have a ton of intel on it, but this is part of the beauty of being in the chat room. You know, we've got a member who's filling us in on what's going on. We got folks discussing it and this, that, and the other thing. And that's pretty much all the info that I have right now is what was shared from Marius. So shout out Marius. Thank you for the details. Supposedly, don't withdraw because that will... that's part of whatever's going on here. So funds should be safe if you do nothing. It's only the V3, not the V4 and 5, which are the latest versions that are affected. And as Ryan pointed out here, DYDX is a macro chart, not looking good, working off of all-time lows. So that's that. Hopefully it ends up being a nothing burger and nobody gets smoked on yet another crypto scandal. But time will tell as always. Let's see, is there anything else I want to look at? Let's look at Turbo. You know, it's very red on the day, 12%, but because it's a volatile name, but if we look here, this is a 2-week 12 EMA rider, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So big question is, are we going to new all-time highs with a bull break of 98.43.2, or are we going to continue to tighten on up here? It's going to be very similar framework. So many names have a similar framework right now where it's all about the daily 12 EMA. If that holds, then the weekly, 2-week moves, they all remain strong. If it's lost, then that's when we're looking for some consolidation across the space. And again, we've got alts starting to lose it. So we've got to be aware of that, cognizant of that, and adjust our probabilities for that. So how that can look is maybe if you're a bull, you're cautious looking for a Bitcoin daily high or low because we've seen these alts lose daily 12 EMAs. And how it could look if you're a bear is you say, all right, well, some alts are starting to lose it. I'm going to try to get in on a laggard to see further downside. So again, there's many ways that you can take this information and synthesize it into something actionable for your trading. And it all starts with just asking questions. Are you aggressive? Are you conservative? Are you looking bullish? Are you looking bearish? And when you answer those two questions, that's where you slot in with what you're doing. So if you want to be an aggressive bull, then you're looking for Bitcoin hourly oversold off of the daily 12 EMA to keep the show on the road. If you want to be a conservative bull, you can be looking for the same thing. Let's go to Bitcoin for the example. If you want to be a conservative bull, you can say, okay, well, we got a 4-hour downtrend as our guide on Bitcoin. I'm looking for this area around 64.7, 64.6 to hold as support, but I'm not going to just go ahead and bang an entry right off of it. That's what an aggressive bull is looking to do. A conservative bull is saying, I'm going to wait, see if we get a reaction there, get a bounce up on the 4 hour, and then I'll look for a 4 hour higher low and see if things can trend up from there. So aggressive and conservative bull there on Bitcoin. If we're talking bearish, an aggressive bear is probably looking short on something like Sol, noting that everything's still pretty healthy, but you can say, all right, well, we got some alts falling through their daily 12 EMAs. I'm going to look for a 4 hour lower high on Sol and see if Sol BTC can start to come down and have Sol go down and take out daily 12 EMA. That's what an aggressive bear is doing. A conservative bear is saying, all right, I'm going to wait for a clear pattern. Let's go for something like Link. We're looking for a weekly lower high. We're testing weekly 12 EMA. I'm going to go ahead and look for a right shoulder on a daily head and shoulders to get some weekly consolidation underway. And then even within that, there's aggressive and conservative. So if we go into the 4 hour and we say, all right, well, if Link's going to hold daily support, we're going to get a 4 hour uptrend and get a bounce going like this. An aggressive bear might be just scaling it, playing off of the highs, or taking a smaller time frame entry on it. A conservative bear is going to say, all right, well, I want to see the 4 hour uptrend loss, and then I'm going to fish the next 4 hour lower high and have this level to play off of instead of playing off of that level. So there's always something for somebody, but you got to know who you are and who you want to be. And you can do multiple things at the same time. Again, you can take the aggressive entry. So like in this Link example, you can't really be doing both with how we did it. But let's go back to Bitcoin and talk about the example here of, the aggressive bull is looking for just the play right off of this, 15-minute stair step into hourly oversold, taking that, chop in half, get risk free, and then you're good to go. Say you want to be the aggressive bull, and we come down and we're 15-minute stair stepping, 5-minute stair stepping, get an inverse head and shoulders, a wick down to it, whatever. Say you do that, and then you stop out. Your aggressive attempt stops out. And then you can say, all right, well, I still think that, we got Trump speaking at the Bitcoin conference on Saturday, yada, yada, yada. I think bulls are going to show up, which is a reasonable thought. Well, your aggressive attempt got stopped out. You can then say, all right, well, I'm going to have to be conservative now. I'll wait for a 4 hour bounce, wherever it comes from. Whether it comes from there or down here, I'm going to wait for a 4 hour bounce and then go ahead and look for an entry off of it and for that trend change. So you can be aggressive, and then that doesn't work. The only problem, the only way you can really mess up is, one, if you don't allocate risk for multiple attempts, and then you end up like, all right, I'm making an aggressive attempt. Now I'm making a mid-range attempt. Now I'm making a conservative attempt. Now I'm making a super conservative attempt. Well, then you got your 0 for 4. And if you were allotting too much risk, you can be taking a weak loser just trying for one daily bounce. That's one way you can bungle it. Another way would be is if you say, all right, well, I'm going to be an aggressive bull and look to enter it at 64.7. And then once that play is invalidated, you just hold it and you stay wrong. It's okay to be wrong. We're all going to be wrong all the time. It's the nature of the game. It's okay to be wrong. It's not okay to stay wrong. And if you go aggressive and you stay wrong, that's when you end up in a sticky situation. And just to talk about some of that, Devin and I, the Truck Guys folks certainly know Devin from the chat room, but he was over here visiting in North Carolina when all of the FTX stuff went down, and we were aggressive bulls buying this sold it, because if you get rid of the FTX thing and you look at this, it's like, okay, we're bottoming out, like let's get this 5-minute oversold. And we continued to scale and both got absolutely smoked on this. We took our lumps along the way and, didn't get smoked out. But that's where, he sent me this mug. Let me make sure I have it framed right. And we'll actually go full screen for it because it's so good. It's the Harold Hide the Pain 5-minute oversold gang, because that's like kind of the joke, is that you start off as 5-minute oversold gang, and then you say, oh, well, we're about to hit 15-minute oversold, so we'll just add there, hourly oversold. And then next thing you know, a couple days later, you're in 4-hour oversold gang on what started from 5-minute oversold gang. So, I talk about all of these things and, what you should do, what you shouldn't do, all of this, that, and the other thing. It's all from experience, and I've made all the mistakes myself, and I continue to make them. We'll always all continue to make them. You just want more space in between when you really bungle something. So don't do what we did. Don't do what we did. All right, that's pretty much what I'm looking at. Let's see what we got going in chat. Omar, what up? Yeah, talked about DYDX a little bit. Don't know a ton of the deets, but the word is don't mess with it. Don't mess with it. Howdy Anderson, Koran, Ola, Ryan V, what up, my dude? Dan K, I appreciate it. You the man. Just a lot of hellos. I'm into that. Little Ricky, which is my dude Zach. What's up? Global Traders says Millionairzo. I think that's supposed to be millionaires, but I'm not quite sure. Yeah, if there's nothing in chat, we'll just wrap it up. I got a Chart Guys stream in 15 minutes, or if we want to be specific, 18 minutes. Stream in the chat room there. So I am down to wrap it up. Let's take one more little peek on the smaller time frame for ETH. So if we're going to get a 4-hour bounce underway here, which looking like it's shaping up, looking like it is shaping up, we'll want to see bulls reclaim an hourly uptrend. So at this point, anything below 35.41 going to be a hourly lower high. We're coming into the 12 EMA, so it wouldn't be surprising to see some resistance here, but bull's going to need the hourly uptrend. And again, keep eyes on ETH BTC. That is going to be the key here. And if we get daily bounce follow through, if we get a daily uptrend, then that's when ETH is really going to come into the limelight for a lot of traders who utilize these ratio charts for relative strength and weakness. Because that'll tell us that perhaps we got ETH all-time highs coming in. You know, could this be like a quarterly cup and handle? Let's see, we broke it by $5. So quarterly consolidation is underway. While the left side of the cup is pretty far, 18%, not too far for crypto. So if this is going to be a quarterly cup and handle, going to all-time highs, likely going to need ETH BTC to get its poop in a group. Yeah, Zach knows I'm sniffing out his alias. Sniffing out his alias. All right, well, thanks all for tuning in. Pretty low view count, I thought, with ETH, ETFs starting to trade. Oh, actually, before we end, let's talk about these a little bit more. We got a tweet that Dinzy shared in the chat room, basically about, you know, how much volume are these ETFs getting, and they're on track to be about 1/5 of what Bitcoin did, which I think is pretty good personally. I mean, I'm not the best gauge for, you know, what we should have got and what we shouldn't have got or whatever, but 1/5 of the volume for Bitcoin or for ETH compared to Bitcoin, when Bitcoin had like its historic, IPO, if you want to call it that. So pretty decent, and we'll see, how's the volume end up shaking out. Like IBIT ends up being what a lot of the traders, at least in the chart guys, are using to trade Bitcoin. Is ETHE gonna be the one, or is it gonna be the ETHA, which IBIT, I believe, is the BlackRock one. Let me see. I believe IBIT is, so that's the iShares Trust, which is BlackRock, if I'm not mistaken, and ETHA. Yeah, so is it going to be the BlackRock one, like it is Bitcoin, that everybody ends up flocking to, or is it going to be the OG Grayscale? Time will tell. Thank you all for tuning in. If you haven't hit the like button, please hit the like button. Let's see. Thanks, Omar. You too, my dude. Bo Jenkins says if we break above 3,500, we should be exiting a cup and handle on the monthly. Let's see. Yeah, I don't know that I see a cup and handle on the monthly. If we were to come up and get to 3,800, we could say we got like a 2-week cup and handle on ETH, something like that. Trying to go up. But we'll just go one step at a time. Do we lose daily 12 EMA to join the weaker alts in weekly consolidation? That's where my gut is, just because that's where the evidence is at this point. And we got to take what the charts are giving us, not what we want from the charts. Hope you all have a great day. And Dan's going to be streaming end of the week. I'm going, actually, speaking of Devin, I'm going to California to hang out with him for a bit. So, not fully taking time off. I'll probably be streaming Monday from California. But Dan's going to cover me on Thursday. So, everybody get excited for that and give Dan some love because he needs it. He has low self-confidence, as we all know, and got to pump our boy up. All right. Take it easy, everybody. We'll see you next time. Adios.